couple of topics on the docket. One of them is the mental game. How
Yes.
do you start? How do you access it? So um, I'm happy to throw a couple introductions in there. If you want to jump right in and kind of your introduction to it and how it impacted you, how you really accessed it, totally up to how you want to go about this.
Yeah. So I can introduce a little bit about how I got introduced to the mental game of baseball. So I think back as early as probably my sophomore year in high school. I started accessing it or understanding there was maybe a little bit something more to the game of baseball rather than, just performance. I think it originally started with my brother and a couple of his friends found a Steve Springer quality at bat CD. And,
Nice.
yeah, I picked it up and I started listening to probably more so just to kind of be with the rest of the crew and kind of doing what they're doing, not really understanding the impact of what this was. But from that, I started understanding. I said, "Hey, look, there's a way where I can use my mind to my advantage and
Mm,
start formulating plans and approaches when I go up to hit." And again, I really think through my sophomore, junior, senior year in high school, it was extremely elementary in what I knew about the mental game of baseball. But what I'd come to learn my freshman year in college is there's something concrete to this. I mean, it's
mm.
real. It's used in everyday life. It's used on baseball fields. It's used in gyms. It's everywhere, and it's something that's real. So, my first introduction was my coaching staff in college put a high emphasis on the mental game of baseball and making sure I'm using tools to help me be successful on and off the field. There was always a huge emphasis. I mean, not only performance on the field, but performance off the field was a huge topic. Again, something later on in life I'd come to appreciate quite a bit. But yeah, I know we've talked a little bit about. I got some access to some good sports minds in Ken Revisa and Mario Soto coming to our baseball team and really sitting down and breaking down, what the game of or what the mental game of baseball is and how we can use it to our advantage to really perform at a high level.
Mhm. Now, I've had the privilege of speaking to many groups about the mental game. I'm not Mario Soto, I'm not Ken Revisa, but they've always run into the same thing of okay, you're speaking to a group of people. There are those who don't give a you know what about what you're talking about. Those
Yep.
are those who are kind of a little bit interested. You're piquing interest, and those who are kind of like all in, like wow, this is the piece I've been missing.
Yeah.
When they came to your program, I know you dabbled in the mental game a little bit,
Right.
so maybe you were kind of the middle guy, or where were you? And then what was maybe one or two things that they said or a story that they told that kind of like pushed you into, ooh, wow, I'm closer to that all in. Um,
I kind of attribute it to the fact that I always see myself as extremely coachable and I
mm,
trust people. I will as soon as I meet someone, I trust them immediately until they show me that I don't deserve their trust. And I think it really struck and hit home for me when I saw the emphasis that my coaches were putting on the mental game
mm,
of baseball and how important it was. So I just was sitting there in the classroom thinking like, man, if these guys are really locked in, they're going through all this trouble to bring these guys in to talk with us. There's got to be something here to this. And so, I really dove in. I know there was a lot of kids and guys on my team who didn't. I mean, they're cracking jokes, giving some of those guys a hard time when they're presenting. And that was a little bit difficult to see. But I guess the biggest aspect of it is when they started telling stories, kind of like, is this you stories, talking about guys struggling in the batter's box, guys carrying their at bats home. And, how do you handle it? And that really made me think because it hit home with me. I mean, I was really focused and wanted to do well in baseball. So, I would carry that stuff home with me and it would affect me. And I really had no, concrete way to handle it. And so I was like, I need to listen and really dive into this here.